So it turns out Elon Musk, the half a trillionaire and the guy who won't leave Donald's side for reasons, the unelected, unvetted, unconfirmed head of a fictional, unconstitutional legal agency, Elon Musk, that guy, he was at a Pentagon meeting. What does that have to do with being in charge, depending on where you are, of the Department of Government Efficiency? Well, we're gonna show you footage in a second, but I want to be clear about something. The only reason we know this meeting took place at all was because it was leaked to the New York Times by Pentagon officials, which leads me to believe, are people at the Pentagon concerned about something? Now, Musk is threatening to prosecute the leakers because he is a champion of free speech. I mean, as evidenced by how he's handled Twitter. As he left the Pentagon at 10:21 a.m. this morning, 10:21 a.m., he told reporters, quote, "It's always a great meeting," unquote. Does that mean you've been to more than one meeting at the Pentagon? Oh, well, that does not bode well for us, I'm going to venture to say. When asked if they talked about China, neither he nor Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, that should fill us with shame for all of perpetuity. Neither one of them would answer the question, though, and Hegseth just smirked and said, quote, "Why would I tell you?" Unquote. Play the clip.
Good.
Mr. Musk, did you get a classified briefing?
On the roof, it's a head conversation.
Was your briefing about China?
Just put the Space Force on the roof.
Mr. Musk, what did you talk about in your meetings?
Did he say oy vey when somebody asked him if what happened in the meeting? Okay. I mean, that's all right, I guess, but that's not really an answer to the question. I guess, can you tell us what happened in the meeting? Hegseth asks in return, "Why would I tell you?" Why would you tell us? Because you work for the American people. I love how he and Elon pretended to tolerate each other on their way out the door while they just ignored reporters because clearly they don't feel like they're accountable to us any more than Donald does. So why was he called to the Pentagon to meet with Hegseth? Was this prearranged? So this is a question, the answer of which is coming more into focus as the events of the day continue to unfold and be revealed to us. But before I get into that, please take a second to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We're very close to hitting 350,000 subscribers, and our goal is to continue building this community of truth tellers. Okay, so here is what we do know. According to the New York Times, the Pentagon scheduled a China-focused briefing for Elon Musk, as confirmed by two officials. I'm going to repeat that. This meeting was called for Elon Musk, a briefing about China. This comes at a time when the Pentagon is drafting a military's plan for a potential war with China. I mean, this is escalating quite quickly. Did anybody know that there were any rumblings of a war with China? I mean, Donald started a unilateral, unprovoked trade war with China, which seems ill-advised. But an actual war? So at the briefing, apparently there were 20 to 30 classified slides showing how the United States would fight, when, where, and with what. While it's not clear how much of that detail Musk saw, if any, national security experts are warning it's a dangerous precedent. Yeah, why? Because Elon Musk is not elected, he's not confirmed, he's not vetted, he wasn't subjected to an FBI background check. He is exposed in so many different ways, and he is a dangerous, dangerous person who has way too much power simply by virtue of the fact that he was allowed by stupid people and short-sighted people to achieve the kind of obscene wealth he has. And yet last night, Donald melted down online, claiming the story about Musk's appearance at the Pentagon was completely untrue with lots of exclamation points. Because apparently Donald thinks that nobody's listening to him. I mean, if you're lucky, you're not. At 6:30 this morning, Donald posted on his failing social media platform, calling the New York Times article, quote unquote, fake news. Donald, I keep saying this to you and you're not listening to me. You need new material because you sound old and tired and really boring. And then he slammed Maggie Haberman, a New York Times reporter who helped break the story, Maggot Hagerman. And I don't quite understand why changing one of the letters on her last name is like such a clever dig. And again, Donald, I just so admire your sophisticated humor and maturity. I apologize in advance for his atrocious grammar and syntax and capitalizations, but those you won't notice when I'm just reading this. So here goes, quote, their fake concept for this story is that because Elon does some business in China, that he is very conflicted and would immediately go to top Chinese officials and spill the beans. Ratings challenged fake news CNN immediately picked up on this absolutely ridiculous and false story. Fortunately, nobody was watching. Maggot Hagerman, the really dumb scammer who constantly writes about me for the Times, unquote. Well, that was not a complete sentence, so I don't know what you were trying to say. But clearly you really wanted to give her a ridiculous nickname. He went even so far as to say openly that China won't even come up in this meeting. Quote, the fake news is at it again, this time the failing New York Times. They said incorrectly that Elon Musk is going to the Pentagon tomorrow to be briefed on any potential war with China. How ridiculous. China will not even be mentioned or discussed. How disgraceful it is that the discredited media can make up such lies. Anyway, the story is completely untrue. Unquote, exclamation point, et cetera, et cetera. Except, of course, Musk did show up at the Pentagon this morning. And here's the part they're trying to downplay. Musk has major business interests in China, which should surprise nobody. Tesla has a factory in Shanghai, a $2.8 billion loan from Chinese banks, and China is Tesla's second largest market. Although that's taken a hit lately. He's publicly said that China should control Taiwan, which is exactly what China wants to hear. And he's written essays for Chinese state media, in case we had any doubts at all. So why is Elon, who isn't in the military, isn't an elected official, and has ongoing contracts with both the United States and China, rumored to be briefed on war? I don't know. Could it be because he has insider knowledge? Could it be because he's trying to protect his financial interests? Is it because he's trying to take advantage of a potentially escalating conflict that will help him make more money? Because God knows he doesn't have enough. I personally might be able to stretch out $500 billion if I tried really hard and, lived 5 billion years. Anyway, let's talk about why this isn't just shady, but it's potentially dangerous. So the Pentagon spends billions of dollars with SpaceX every single year. Shame on them. Musk is building satellites, launching spy payloads, and lobbying for a quote-unquote Golden Dome missile defense system that would generate massive profits for his companies. Musk has all of this financial power within our government while still being deeply invested in China with his other businesses. According to Defense Department sources, and as reported in the New York Times back in December, Musk does have top security clearance at SpaceX, which makes him privy to classified materials in such as advanced U.S. military technology. Which, if that sounds bad, it's because it is. Watch this clip from February where Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt sidestepped whether Musk has high-level security clearance or not.
That Elon Musk is a special government employee.
Yes.
What kind of security clearance does he have?
I can confirm he's a special government employee. I can also confirm that he has abided by all applicable federal laws. As for his security clearance, I'm not sure, but I can check back with you.
Did he pass a background check, do you know?
I don't know about the security clearance, but I can check.
And do you know about anyone who's on his team that was at USAID this weekend or at Treasury Department, whether they also have security clearances?
I don't know, but I can check on that for you.
As for whether or not he has a security clearance or whether or not he's been vetted, I'm not going to tell you. That's actually what she was saying. Even the Pentagon's own Inspector General has raised red flags about Musk's security clearance. According to multiple news sources since 2024, Musk has been under investigation over whether he's been properly reporting foreign contacts, especially with Chinese officials. These concerns were raised by SpaceX employees themselves. The Air Force even denied Musk an upgrade to a higher security clearance, citing national security risks. And yet here he is, getting access to strategic briefings while threatening to prosecute the people who blew the whistle. And now, instead of addressing these concerns, Elon is threatening to go after the whistleblowers because that's a page right out of Donald's playbook. After the Times exposed the briefing, Musk reposted Donald's denial and added that he looks forward to the prosecution of those at the Pentagon who are leaking maliciously false information to the New York Times. Then he added with a warning that should chill us all, quote, "They will be found," unquote. Great. That's exactly the kind of person you want, having access to highly sensitive, classified documents. What Musk says there is not a statement. That is a threat. And it's aimed not at foreign adversaries, but at public servants trying to protect national security by alerting the media, because there's probably no one in the government safe to tell these things to at this point, that a potential security threat to our country is being given increasingly significant access to our national security secrets. So why wouldn't we take this seriously? Donald is already threatening to deport people who oppose Elon Musk. Here's what he posted this morning. He's been a busy little Nazi today. Quote, "I look forward to watching the sick terrorist thugs get 20-year jail sentences for what they're doing to Elon Musk and Tesla. Perhaps they could serve them in the prisons of El Salvador, which have become so recently famous for such lovely conditions, exclamation point, unquote." So what Donald is saying there is that he wants people who object to the presence of Elon Musk, the illegal, unconstitutional presence of Elon Musk in our government, to be sentenced to very long prison terms. Now, I know he's cherry picking. I know he's going to use as an excuse the violence that has been perpetrated against Tesla dealerships, people setting Teslas on fire and people shooting up Tesla dealerships, which is unconscionable and should not be condoned, of course. But also, we don't know who's committing these crimes. But he wants to extrapolate from there. He wants to widen the reach. We know that the State Department is going after people with visas who just don't like Donald. Like, that's going to become the crime now. A crime so egregious, not liking Donald, not liking Elon Musk. These two thin-skinned, awful people just can't handle it. People disagree with them. That is such an egregious crime that if you commit it, you just don't need to go to prison. You need to go to the kind of prison in El Salvador that he's gloating about. The kind of prison where conditions are so horrific and so inhumane that if you're lucky enough to get out, you get out forever changed. That's what Donald Trump wants. That's what that viciously cruel person who loves being cruel, that's what he wants. And that's what he's serving up. Directly after Elon exited the Pentagon, Hegseth and Donald held a press conference from the Oval Office. And this is where the pieces start to fall together. Watch the clip.
At my direction, the United States Air Force is moving forward with the world's first sixth-generation fighter jet. Number sixth generation. Nothing in the world comes even close to it. And it'll be known as the F-47. The generals picked a title. And it's a beautiful number, F-47. It's something the likes of which nobody has seen before in terms of all of the attributes of a fighter jet. There's never been anything even close to it, from speed to maneuverability to what it can have to payload. And this has been in the works for a long period of time. After a rigorous and thorough competition between some of America's top aerospace companies, the Air Force is going to be awarding the contract for the next generation air dominance platform to Boeing.
Boeing. Also, If everything is like nothing we've ever seen before, is anything like nothing we've ever seen before? Once again, Donald, stop it. You are driving us crazy. I mean, I know that's the point, but enough already with the hyperbole. You sound like an idiot. Well, you are one, so I guess you can't help it. All right, I tried. Boeing has landed a $20 million contract to develop the U.S. military's, quote, next high-tech fighter jet, the one that's nothing like nobody has ever seen before. This is the same Boeing that stranded our astronauts in space for 9 months, who then had to partner with Elon Musk to bring them home. The same Boeing that was contracted for a new fleet of Air Force Ones, or is it Air Forces One? I don't know. A project that was so massively delayed that Donald brought in Elon Musk. Do you see where we're heading with this? When the press finally got around to asking Donald about Musk's attendance at the Pentagon meeting this morning with Hegseth, this is what Hegseth had to say.
You guys are denying this New York Times report that Elon Musk was going to be shown a 20 to 30 page presentation about a theoretical war plan against China. Why not just show it to Elon?
Because I don't want to show it to anybody. You're talking about a potential war with China. Now, I deal with these people all the time, and I'm dealing with Pete. I'm dealing with these gentlemen on numerous different airplane purchases, and I think they're all going to be great. Elon was over there today to address costs. Doge, thing called Doge, which you've heard about. Pete?
That's exactly right, Mr. President. You pointed out it was a fake story. We pointed out it was meant to sort of undermine whatever relationship the Pentagon has with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a patriot. Elon Musk is an innovator. Elon Musk provides a lot of capabilities our government and our military rely on, and I'm grateful for that. We welcomed him today to the Pentagon to talk about Doge, to talk about efficiencies, to talk about innovations. It was a great informal conversation. The rest of that reporting was fake. There was no war plans. There was no Chinese war plans. There was no secret plans. That's not what we were doing at the Pentagon.
But this was a made-up story by the New York Times. I call it the failing. It's a failing newspaper. It's failing. And they shouldn't do that. They really are the enemy of the people.
Oh, there we go. The enemy of the people. Is anybody else sick to death of this? The fake news, the failing New York Times, the enemy of the people. Is anybody getting it? Is it sinking in? There's literally no reason to believe these liars. They are so practiced. I don't even think they could tell the truth if they wanted to, and they don't. Also, anybody so immature and stupid. I mean, just as a quick aside, it must be painful to walk around being as stupid as Pete Hegseth is. But that's sort of irrelevant to the topic at hand. Talking about Donald's stupidity and immaturity. The idea that somebody like him, somebody who thinks that calling a plane an F-47 makes it a beautiful thing, that it's a beautiful number, because that just happens to be the number of his administration in the line of succession of presidencies, is just a brutal embarrassment for all of us. So Elon Musk walks into a Pentagon meeting this morning for discussion about efficiency, a meeting the public would not have known about if it weren't for the leaked material to the press that Donald is now very seriously labeling the enemy of the people. Then just hours later, Donald announces that Boeing, a company that has been quietly working with Musk to deliver Air Force One and partnering him with him in other ventures, is getting the contract to build America's next fleet of warplanes. And all of this is happening while the Pentagon drafts a war plan for China, a country Elon Musk is as financially tied to as he is to the United States government vis-a-vis contracts. This is not bad optics. I mean, it is bad optics, but that is not my problem here. This is about consolidating wealth, power, and military access and putting it in the hands of one unelected man, unconfirmed, unvetted, etc., who is the head of an illegal, unconstitutional, essentially fictional agency designed solely to dismantle the institutions of the United States government, and a man with divided loyalties, or perhaps I should say, no loyalties, except to his own obscene wealth. If you think that does not put all of us at risk, then you haven't been paying attention. And right now, that is one of the only things we can do. We need to be paying very close attention to all of the moves that are being made. We need to be connecting the dots because they are not making it easy for us to do so. I mean, luckily for us, they're very bad at covering their tracks because, again, they are so stupid and they tell so many lies, they cannot keep track of them. So the evidence is there. We just have to keep looking for it. Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.